go ahead and restart. Thank you. Mr. Long, so let's talk very quickly about revenue analysis and then move on to our financial statement memo.
Revenue looks really good, but
Awesome.
it actually looks artificially good because of a couple
Don't
of
say
things.
that.
Was it what?
Well, the schools budgeted maintenance of effort, so they budgeted less than estimated, so it's going to make the property tax look much higher. And we also budgeted the prior year because they budgeted maintenance of effort for sales tax, so the amount in debt service and the schools will be high there. And then also the same thing on wheel tax. We budgeted for prior year amount on the budget side. Otherwise, everything's pretty well. There's some variances, but they offset each other because the executive office has 2 years of taxes. Everything else is kind of running somewhat in line.
Thank you, sir. Financial statement.
And that's just the memo saying that the financial statements will be available to the county commission on the night of the county commission meeting.
Transfer, sir.
That's just for some overtime for election for the Millersville.
I'd entertain a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Long, interbudgetary.
They're attached on page 17 and 18, and I did not see anything that would raise any red flags.
I'd entertain a motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Move to approve.
I'll second, but I'd
Motion
like
and
to
a
get in the
second.
queue.
Motion and second. We have Mr. Klein in the queue. Go for it.
Mr. Long, I have to ask this because I'm so curious about hard drive destruction.
That's when you pull your hard drives out, just like my office. We actually used to pay somebody to destroy those hard drives. They melt them down, destroy them completely.
Yeah, you don't.
That's a lot of
They'll
hard
actually give you a
drives.
certificate too. Well, which office was that? I remember seeing it, but I
It's
can't.
It's a sheriff's office.
So they would have several hard drives.
Okay.
Yeah, but they actually, if they do the same thing we do, and I haven't asked them directly, but what we did in the past, we actually paid another entity or business. They would come in and destroy the drives and actually give us a certificate of destruction.
Because I've got a fire pit in my backyard.
He shook his head at the same thing they're doing. Well, they won't melt down easily.
Any other questions here? I'll go back to Mr. Brown.
144,000
For the highway department? Yeah. Which page are you looking at, 17 or 18?
Second page.
18.
It's item number 131.
It's 100, and how much was it?
You know, it's item number 131. It's $144,000.
$144,000.
Well, the total is 214.
That's where they're moving money. That's where he's moving money out to go over there to buy additional crushed stone.
Yeah. So.
So where do you move it from?
404, I'd have to look up that account. We didn't label it, but when I looked at it, it didn't really raise any red flags at the time, and crushed stone is something that's cost. Normal cost for highway. But I can look it up if you want me to look up that account number.
I'll look later.
Any other motion, Mr. Brown, to answer your question? Any others? We have a motion and a second. All in favor to approve?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. So we've added F, and Mr. Long.
The quick and dirty.
Yeah, I just want to make a note here that I do appreciate Mr. Ben Harris, who gave me a call just in the course of his regular business. He noted that he, just looking at our budget and looking at what he has, some contacts he has in Gallatin, believe that we were being undercompensated for adequate facilities tax. So I did want to give a shout out to Mr. Harris for calling me and informing me, not deliberating, informing me this, which is totally within our bounds. And then we had several discussions with Mr. Long and did a little bit of digging, and there's potentially quite a bit of dollars on the table here. So, Mr. Long.
I was inquiring, the original inquiry did come from Mr. Harris, and then next it was Mr. Shea about the adequate facilities tax. And so the first thing I did was approach actually the building construction office and talk to Marshall downstairs. And we have a procedure in to audit the revenues that are received from the cities for adequate facilities tax. That was my first place I stopped. Well, when I was talking to Marshall, he made the comment that certain classes of businesses were exempted from this, so I actually asked him an inquiry of why. And far as we can determine at this point, it was that way when he went into office, but it was based upon a resolution, I believe, in 2007 and 1999, where they did a clarification on what's considered industrial. And they kicked out retail and a whole group of things out the industrial. Well, if you go back to the private act says industrial is based on a very specific federal publication that includes all those items. The private act actually goes back and exempts only 6 classes of business, and the private act actually spells out the taxes are on all construction of residential, and the other type of what did I say? Commercial.
So, Mr. Long, I would like to, because we've talked about this at some length, and do you remember the resolution, that was, what the number of the resolution was? 2007?
The one Marshall gave me that he looked at, because he was,
Yeah.
he came in, he had a question of why he was doing it, it was a 2007 resolution.
Do you remember the number, resolution number? Because I want to make a motion here, and what I would like to make the motion is, the motion I would like to make is to draft a resolution rescinding that resolution, 2011 whatever one it is, and affirming that the commission will adhere to its private act.
0704-04.
07, we would, so my resolution, what this would be is a resolution rescinding 0704, what was it? 070404, and affirming that this county will abide by its private act in collection of adequate facilities tax. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Mr. Sittler.
I want to be very clear on this because David and I have spent a lot of time on it. Just because there is a resolution out there now that says they're exempt, it doesn't trump the act. And I believe Marshall has already put out to the municipalities that this needs to be started to be collected now.
Correct.
Regardless of the status of
I just
this
don't want there to
resolution.
be any, here's my thought on this. I don't want there to be any, this was a bad resolution to begin with, and I don't want there to be any question whatsoever or any point of argument whatsoever on the point of various cities in the necessity of collecting this tax. I don't want there to be any question.
Can I make one point?
Go ahead, Mr. Long.
The building inspector Marshall did do his due diligence. When he came into office, he did look at the resolutions. He was following the resolution, but he did not understand the distinction that you cannot have a resolution that is in conflict with a private act or a general law.
I'm not a criticizing, just to be clear, I'm not criticizing
So he was-
anybody who
he was doing
yeah, I'm
it.
not criticizing him or anybody else. I'm only stating that, well, I am criticizing that resolution and probably the people who drafted it by default, but not anybody who was confused by those two. And in fact, that's why I want to see it removed. So it is extremely crystal clear that we're following the private act.
But I'm just making sure everybody's aware.
Can we
He
get a-
did do his diligence.
Mr. Long, I want to, just for the room here to understand the magnitude of this. Over the course of, since 2007, how much revenue do you think we have, on the low side, that we have missed out on?
I would say, my understanding now, it started all the way back in 1999, I would say you missed on the low side, $15 million.
15?
The only reason I think that is because you gotta think Indian Lake was built out and all that stuff.
5-0.
15.
No, 15.
Oh, I thought you
15
said
upward.
15, 1-5.
But here's what makes me think, because you've got Indian Lake and everything, and right now, just think of Costco.
Right.
I understand it's somewhere around 160,000 square foot, 40 cents per square foot, not collected on that one. We can
Right.
say that. Sam's Club, Walmart out there, the theater, the whole Indian Lake, this thing was approved back in 1999. So no retail has had adequate facilities tax collected on it.
Yeah, an estimate what we're going to be picking up.
It'll be based on the amount of these items that were considered exempt. But if you look, and I can forward, anybody wants a copy of the email, it actually refers you to the federal publication that tells exactly what's considered, that should be taxed. It was very clear, the problem.
Mr. Mansfield? Or did you get your question answered?
If we could get an estimate of what we're going to pick up in the next budget later.
I would be cautious, because right now,
Okay. I'm
it's
good
hard
with
to
that.
say unless we
You have to
know
know
something's
what's
on the
gonna,
horizon.
when projects are gonna be completed. It's
It's a
hard
little
to.
too late.
Yeah. Mr.
You
Mansfield?
missed the big
So-
chunk.
We
right
can't
there.
go back.
I need clarification. This resolution was passed in '07, which my understanding was it stopped the collection of the commercial. Versus, are you saying it was just never collected since 1999?
I talked to Marshall today, and he actually contacted a former employee pre to '07, And their understanding was they never collected the adequate facilities tax
For
on
commercial.
retail. But when came into office, what he looked at was a resolution, and it basically said that it was clarifying what the commercial was, and it was based on our zoning resolution, and it kicked out a bunch of commercial.
Bad
Industrial.
policy. So, I remember their Board of Construction Appeals asking about this last year, of what we could do about it, and I guess, did we just not catch it last year, or just, because that was brought up in a meeting that I watched about the commercial retail adequate facilities tax on those buildings, that we weren't capturing it. That was an alarm that was sounded last year by that committee. And so-
I think the problem there was it was being presented as a impact fee versus
An adequate
this
facility.
tax.
I have a comment on that. I was at that meeting, and it was, the idea is that the industrial classification manual of the federal manual, that was the guideline for that was discussed, but the contents of what that was not known at the time. So, I mean, as far as Marshall was aware, industrial meant industrial, so.
He didn't know it was
So,
commercial.
even though it was brought up, I mean, just saying, it's been brought up a lot longer than just last week. This was something that
This was months,
committee,
yeah.
like last year, brought up and flagged, and like, why aren't we doing this? And so,
When I was questioned, I followed up the following week. I mean, I think it was Mr. Shove contacted me the week before, and earlier that week, I'd had a contact from Mr. Harris. So I followed up this past Friday with Marshall to see. My first thought process was we were missing them in the audit, or there was some classification differences between building permits. But when I was discussing it with Marshall, the whole thing came up with the resolution stating what was the industrial. And he said there was some language difference from the private act, but he thought his understanding from earlier, probably before our current legal office, was that to follow the resolution.
The previous law director had recommended that the resolution trumped the private act was.
I don't know if he told her who, somebody
that's what.
told him that at some point.
Well, I don't want to say that as fact, but that's what we think might have happened.
so,
He was told to follow, that's all I know.
yeah, I mean, just for people to understand, is that you have city governments saying they need more rooftops so that they can have more retail, neither of which have been paying for themselves. And that's why we've been raising property taxes to pay for services such as schools, highway, sheriff. So we've been losing income on stuff that they've been clamoring for, and the counties had no mechanism to pay for what the cities have been. The county hasn't grown, it's the cities. And so I just want to make that clear, losing $15 million and not capturing, that's a lot of
Well,
money.
that's the low end. It could be
The low end. I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, it's just,
And that's a guess.
It's shocking.
because To do any kind of real calculation, I'd have to have all those square footages for.
So
buildings.
let's, any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Wine, item number G.
Final items, just the judge's salary. The administrative office of the court certifies their salary each year. It's based on COLA. The amount they sent us for 2023 was 4%. They've now informed us it's 5%. The amount's not material. It's $1,843 per judge, $5,529 total, and with benefits about $6,576. Just making you aware, we will bring a adjustment for a resolution next month, but it is required to be paid, and we are going to start paying.
There's no discussion of this. There were no
It's information.
movement on this needed now, right? Okay.
No, sir.
Any discussion on this one? All right. Is that your report, Mr. Long?
That's in my report, unless anybody has any
No,
questions.
no need to vote on that. It's coming next month.
Okay.
So moving on to old business here, City of Gallatin. Have we got a check yet for our 900 grand? Do we, Mr. Mayor, any update on this? I'd entertain a motion for discussion.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what, do we have any, like a time frame on when this will be paid out?
It's my understanding they want to wait until the parking garage is completed.
But simultaneously, Gallatin Utility District is stopping us from completing it? Or from turning, what is the definition of complete? Like,
You would
we
need
have
to
everything
You
built?
would need to ask the mayor that question.
The Mayor
Probably a
Gallatin?
certificate of occupancy, probably. And that means everything's functioning, the elevators,
Well, this is for the the garage.
Right.
Okay, just
Yeah,
wanted to-
there's elevators in
Yeah, I
it.
know, no, just,
So,
Mr. Mansfield.
repeat that again. So you said they owe us 97,000, but then they're
Well,
hindering us
the
from
Gal,
completing it.
I want to be clear,
Gallatin.
Gallatin, it's not Gallatin the city, it's Gallatin Utility District is a independent body that does not answer up to the mayor or the Hendersonville, or the, excuse me, the Gallatin.
Does the city of Gallatin fund them?
No, I mean, well, they may partly, but I mean, they're funded from services.
So they're just an independent body, not
They're-
related. It's just a name on
Their,
it.
their
Gallatin's.
own, yeah, that's right. It's
Could
just
be like.
Yeah,
Billy
just
Bob's
like,
Electric.
it's like NES, Nashville Electric. So that's who's holding this up.
This is the stormwater thing.
No.
No,
This
something
is,
totally
this
different.
is something that reared its ugly head on Friday.
So what are our options here, I guess, my question? Like, are we just gonna play chicken over having a, like, I mean, it doesn't affect me. You know, like, I don't need to park in there. Are we just gonna like, just let this thing sit? I mean, what are we just gonna play chicken and all look stupid? I mean,
We've got a meeting tomorrow with, Department of Electricity to see where we are with this new thing that just popped up,
okay,
which I think we're gonna end up taking a firm stance on.
okay.
Yeah,
After I've gathered-
the mayor and I were sideswiped in
I
a
know,
meeting with
I'm
her.
totally aware. So, no movement on this one, meeting. It'll just stay. Anything else, any discussion on here? Okay.
Old business.
Stays on old business. Okay, so item B, we're gonna defer, and so I just want to note here that I spoke with, Mr. Ellis, so last month we had, this came up in, both in the budget and in the full commission. We haggled around this a little bit. There was a note, I think, that the highway was going to have a special called session, but that did not happen. I spoke to Mr. Ellis. He said he is fine with this being deferred to March. So March, this will be on the next month's. I understand that this will be on the next month's highway committee. That's my understanding here. And then we will consider it. So I will defer till next month. Any other notes on that one from anybody? Okay, great. Sheriff's Office, item C1, $310,000. This is ARPA funding for swap for internal vest to outer load-bearing vest. I'd entertain
Make a motion.
motion, second.
Second.
Okay, we have a-
Discussion?
we can discuss it. So we have a motion. Was your motion to approve or to discuss?
Approve.
Motion to approve. Was there a second to approve? Motion to approve. Ms. Boyd.
So we just moved all of this off the ARPA so that we could decide what to do with it. So now we're gonna put more back on the ARPA?
Do whatever, as Mr. Hyde says, assuming this goes through commission, we could sell this building if we want to, so.
I would be all for moving that to the top of the line with buying in line with ambulance and police cars and equipment. But I think we should line it all out and see what we want with the money. I mean, and Chief Craddock could tell you it was my idea to start with when we were negotiating salaries, or not negotiating, but working on salaries, that I thought this would be a good use. But I don't think we should put things back on when we just took things off.
I mean, you could make a motion to appropriate from the general fund, if you'd like to do that. Or-
So I'm just saying that we just,
Right, but we've moved it to the general fund, but there's,
we're just gonna move it to the top of the line of ARPA uses.
so, but we're not gonna approve it for now.
We want to defer it next month.
Yeah, I think that would be the thing, to defer it until we wrap up all of this ARPA.
Uh,
And then, as I said, I'd be all for. I mean, what we said was we were going to use things that we could buy that we need, which this is a thing.
Right, so I mean, well,
So do
you
we
can make
wanna
whatever
start on
motion.
this
Here,
right now?
I'll make a motion, I will make a motion.
We already have
Or
it.
well, I'll amend the
Yeah,
motion.
we have a motion.
I'll amend your motion
Mhm.
to take the 310,000 from the general fund, since we moved it over there.
I'm agreeable. This is a
Okay,
safety
you-
thing,
So
so.
you're gonna, okay, so the
Well,
motion
hold
maker
it off from
is
ARPA.
good with making this.
Yeah, it would.
We can use it for revenue replacement.
Yeah, it needs to come from ARPA. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I mean, it was me that put it on the table first to use it from ARPA. I'm just saying that we just moved everything off ARPA so we could figure out the best way to use it. I think this should go to the beginning of the list, but we're gonna work on it with the consultant.
Well,
But
do you have a
it can
motion?
roll.
Do you have a motion?
I'm good with deferring it to after we can talk to the consultant and roll it all together.
Do you have a mo, so is
That
that your
would be my
motion?
motion.
I agree.
Motion and a second? Any other discussion?
So we're
deferring it?
Well,
We're deferring
to March. To March.
because, until we talk to the consultants.
All in favor? All opposed?
No.
Okay, that's, so that was an amended
It
motion.
wasn't an
So-
emergency, right?
So that's an amended motion, so now we're back on the main, which basically yours overwrote ours.
Okay.
So now this is, the motion, basically the amended motion to approve it, but that amended motion was to defer to next month. So we'll, vote on the main, which is to defer it again. All in favor? Any opposed? No.
No.
2 noes. Motion passes. Same thing for the taser upgrades. I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve, but I have a feeling it's gonna.
Second.
So can I ask for us to suspend and ask Chief Deputy if these are emergency items?
Sure.
Motion to,
Second, all in favor?
Suspend.
Aye.
suspend.
Okay.
That's what I-
Mr. Craddock?
They're not emergency items. They're not, it's not gonna be classified as emergency PO.
Okay.
And I guess that's the definition I would use.
Yeah.
However, we have been working on this since December.
Yes.
We've got demos. I see no reason to delay.
Got it.
We're gonna put it at the top of the list next month. Why can't we deal with it now?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, going back under our rules. We have a motion and a second to approve these. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No?
No.
Okay, so motion fails. All right, medical and dental services, motion.
We deal with the business.
This is SCAP funding. This is a different set of funding. Mr. Long, actually, I may need your assistance on this one.
SCAP is for when we house aliens in the,
Is this pass-through?
it's grant funds, so,
Okay,
and it's been on here from last month too, so
Yeah.
I think you probably want to suspend the second reading on it because it is passed.
all right. I would entertain a motion. I'll go ahead and make, I'll move to pass this with a suspension of the second reading if it's unanimous.
Second?
Motion and second. All in favor? Or is there any discussion? I've been going quick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. So the items 4 and 5, I believe we have passed. We passed these during the last, I think these are informational only, because we passed this for the full commission. So this is just for information and docketing. So we can go ahead and move on to 6. This is the SRO grant. I believe that this has been, that the sheriff's office has asked to defer this, so we're gonna defer this till next budget cycle. I would just make a note to defer that to next budget cycle. Item number 7, this is the one I added. This is for data backup. This is for a contract. Do we have a dollar figure on that, Mr. Long?
I thought we moved all of those.
That was over here.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. That was my new, you're right. Sorry, that needs to go to new. Yep. So we're on stormwater project. Pending, this is the $595,000 pending general ops. I know, Mr. Klein, that there's some, this is still churning, so I'd entertain
Yeah.
a motion for discussion.
Motion to discuss.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Klein?
Well, we had a meeting last Friday, and we've gotten rid of any of the variables, we think. So the circuitry of how this is gonna happen is the city of Gallatin is going to move the water line. They're gonna abandon 2 water lines and put in a 12-inch ductile iron. That'll have to happen first. It moves to the north side of Franklin Street. That's about a 3-month project from now. And then after that, we can go ahead and do the storm drain system. The price we have from Turner's pipe company is about $399,000. And we were told that's a solid number, although I have a question about that because the drawings are not complete and approved yet. But they're saying the price is rock solid at $399,000, which I personally think is very high. Turner has a $100,000 oversight fee and then a $100,000 contingency fee, which may or may not get spent. I have not had the conversation, but maybe now's the time to have it with Mr. Long if we can bid this out.
here's the thing that you've got. This was originally bid as construction manager at risk with Turner. My question came up the other month because this was being added in. Was there an existing amount that should be removed, or why was it not included? And I sent you copies of the original plans. The original plans, this garage was in a different location.
Right.
So it makes 100% sense why this would be an add-on at this point. If Turner wants to do it, their bid was for the entire garage for us to occupy it. So if they're willing to do the work, and unless Mr. Sittler disagrees, I think they actually got a right to do the work the way it's being presented. If they don't, then we're gonna have to bid it.
Yeah.
If they say, we don't wanna do it, it's not part of the project, then we have to bid it.
So they have right of first refusal.
Pretty much, unless Mr. Sittler disagrees with
Yeah,
it.
we're in a quasi area here, and that'd be the safest way to approach this, is exactly what he said.
Well, Mr., I mean, if we don't appropriate the money, then,
Then we don't finish the garage.
I mean, I'm talking
That's kind of where we're at, where if we've got one, run forward with Turner. If Turner doesn't want to do it, then go out to bid.
Okay, so,
Is what way I'm looking at it, and I'm saying it's a little bit of a gray area, but you probably want to use the safest area.
So we have legal review, and legal review is basically that if we were to appropriate this, then Turner would have right of first refusal. So has
And I don't want
this
to
been-
speak for Eric and then make sure.
Is
we're
that-
correct.
is that-
No,
true?
I agree.
Okay, so has this been approved in GenOps? I'm getting a north-south from somebody else in GenOps back there.
Did we pass it?
Okay.
I believe it had a limitation of not to exceed 600.
Yeah, that's right,
Okay.
that's right.
So I'll make a motion to approve this. It meets both those criteria. Like, there are many reasons why this project has lots of problems, but this is one we know we need to do. We have somebody who's willing to do it. We have something of a timeline, and we have potentially a willing partner. So I'll make a motion to approve this.
To be clear, we did move the garage after Turner bid on it, so that would
I was gonna,
potential add-on.
So what does that mean?
well, we caused
Well, they bid
material
on it.
change.
Yeah, we
They did.
we changed scope.
This cause.
Wait a minute, just define we.
Or whoever
I'm
moved the
sorry.
garage.
The county.
Yeah, the county back.
Well, it doesn't- I mean,
2020.
we
I'm
as
just
a-
trying to figure out,
we as an
was this when we
organization.
couldn't use eminent domain to take somebody's property on the square that we wanted, and then we,
I wasn't involved directly, I just came up.
I'm just trying to refresh my memory here.
I wasn't involved directly with this portion. The question came up, was my question, why Turner wouldn't have an existing allowance that would come back out, and why this wasn't covered. So I went and pulled the original bid. The original bid for the construction manager at risk is a different location than where the garage is now, which would make sense that you would have different drainage. So as Eric saying, it looks like we probably caused, or whoever moved the garage, this additional cost. And their bid was
We
for the
we
whole
don't have
garage.
we don't have a second right now. So, I mean, it can just fail. I have a motion. Second? Motion fails. Okay. This is, we don't get
Mr.
500.
Chairman,
Yes,
so we're not funding this project?
motion failed. I mean,
All right.
You had
I-
a second.
I didn't have a
I'd
second.
like-
We had a motion and a second for discussion, and then I had a,
I'd like to make a motion to defer until we get a final set of plans, and we have a discussion with Turner with the final set of plans.
do we have a timeline on that?
The final set of plans should be done this week, possibly.
All right, I'll
So-
second your motion.
So by the next meeting, we should have all the answers we need.
So we'll really be on time with
I'll-
everything then.
We'll have
We'd still
time.
be okay.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So deferred. Great. Tornado release. I'd entertain a motion for discussion, because I'm not tracking this.
I'll make the motion for discussion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, I think you might be the right person.
There's already a program in place with the state that's been implemented, and citizens are taking advantage of it, so there's really nothing to
Is there anything we
discuss
need to
here.
do?
No,
Okay.
Nothing you do here.
So I think we can strike this. If there's nothing to be done material, I think we can strike this from old business. And let's move on to new business. New business, A1, amendment number 5 to Board of Education. Entertain a motion for discussion.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Brown, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Brown, I know you'd like to ask a
It's just
question.
2 questions that I would like to ask Director Langford. In the budget amendment request, it
Yes.
says appropriation of new revenue. From where?
It's from Medicaid billing. We receive Medicaid billing by state law for certain services that we provide to special education students. So that money comes in as new revenue.
Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicaid, I'm sorry.
What, it says Medicare.
It should be Medicaid. Anyway, it's part of the funding that we receive for services that we can bill for taking care of special needs children. That rolls back into the program, so it goes for other contracted services, for equipment, things like that. So it just rolls right back into the budget.
So this is just federal funding that, I know it's federal.
Well, it's Medicare billing, it's money, like we do the same thing with nursing. It's for services that, it's billing to.
You're billing like a code.
Yeah.
Like you're billing like, if somebody's doing like psych services, you're gonna bill as a
Yes.
psych service, and
Okay.
Medicaid's gonna pay it.
That's all I needed.
It's a reimbursement,
Got it.
but it comes into us as new revenue.
That's all I needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it Medicare or is it Medicaid?
It's Medicare.
It's
It
Medicare.
says Medicare.
Medicare, I mean, it's government.
Okay.
You know, it's-
Medicare catastrophic coverage act.
Did you have any other questions? All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion
Pull us
to-
back into our rules. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Because this is new appropriation, do we need to waive the second reading?
Yeah, just wait a second reading.
Okay, let's do that one again.
Motion to approve with waiving the second reading.
Second.
I have a question.
Uh,
It says pending education committee approval.
It's been approved.
It's been approved.
Uh,
These agendas are prepared before.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Amendment number 8. Mr. Brown, do you have any questions on this one?
No,
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
so moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Waiving the
carries.
second reading.
Waiving second.
Did you, we'll do it again, just to be clear. Did you want to raise second reading in your motion? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. So second reading is waived. Appropriations, item B. These are all pretty small here. I know we've maybe been chastised a little bit for this, but I might entertain a motion to group and approve. This is item B.
Well,
Motion, second. Any discussion?
Are you waiting a second?
You want to waive the second reading?
Yes.
Okay, are you good with that as a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. We're making progress. Give me 1 second. Okay, so EMA, so item C1, EMA approvals. Item EA1, chainsaws. Any discussion here? Or I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C1B, 6,800 to allow for purchase of a third generator. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second, but I want to get in my own queue here. And I'd like to suspend the rules. I know this is a relatively small amount, but I do have a question on it. I'd like to suspend the rules and ask our EMA director.
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
So this says, the other one does as well, but, so are we basically gonna front you $6,800 and then you're gonna take the rest from a grant? Is this like a matching thing?
In the past, we bought 2 of these. This will be our third. Our goal is to get 4 of these generators identical. I've got 24,000 sitting in a grant right now. The generator from the last one we purchased has gone up to a little over $30,000.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Got it.
And I'm asking for the difference to be able to buy the generator.
Got it. All right. Any other?
A question.
Yep. Ms. Boyd.
Is this in the budget or is this new appropriation?
I've already got it. It's in my line right now. The 24,000, I've already got it in the line.
Yeah, okay.
The 68's new.
The 68.
Fiscal year 21 grant.
Yeah.
The 68's new though, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
The 68's new is what she's asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm
This
sorry.
is
Yes,
new.
ma'am.
So this
it
is-
wasn't
This
in
is
the budget.
new beyond your budget. This is not a
Yes,
transfer.
yes.
Okay.
So I understand you want a fourth one. We're gonna put that in the budget next year?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I understand you want a fourth one. We'll be putting it in the budget next year?
No.
No?
No, I'm doing that through grants. And I'll increase the amount of the corresponding grant to get a fourth one.
Any other questions? Oh,
Uh-huh,
Mr.
I know.
Long?
How big is that generator?
25 kW.
25 kW.
Yeah, that would
Thank
be
you, sir.
good.
Oh, go ahead.
We'll
Ms.
talk
Gordon.
later.
Thank you, sir. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we had a second.
Waiving.
Oh, yeah, I would like to wait a second.
Just by the way, everybody, it's snowing in Dixon and Montgomery County, it's coming this way, it's gonna snow.
I'm going.
It's gonna snow.
I'm hustling. I'm hustling.
10 o'clock or so,
I mean,
So-
this was long.
How much we getting?
This is long.
Probably an inch and a half, 2 inches.
Oh, my goodness, it's the end of the world.
I got a four-wheel drive, I don't care.
Hey,
Maybe they'll fill in the pothole.
hey, can a Bearcat come get me? Bearcat.
Let's talk about
Oh, no, I'm kidding. Let's not. All right,
Cease
so this
deferred.
waives the second reading, is the second good with that?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
We
I
go
think.
back into session.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did,
I
I did.
remember.
Sorry, I'm going fast. I think we're gonna defer item C. This is for the HMAP grant. We talked about that at the beginning, so we'll defer that guy. Without objection, I'm gonna defer that. All right, Sheriff's Office, remove appropriation of $39,983 due to not meeting bid specs. So this is removal of an appropriation. I'd entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 3, just when we're going quick. Brown Park Funds. I'd entertain a motion.
This
So
is
help me.
just for informational. Earlier, when we were talking about the Brown Park, it was kind of our understanding that we were getting the money up front, but we're told now we're getting on the rear end, so it's just for informational only.
So I'm gonna make a motion here. I'm gonna make a motion. So there's debate on this 500,000 and where it sits, and to me, I mean, we can fight over it all day. So I'm gonna make this motion, and that motion is to send the following to or put the following in a resolution. I guess it would go to the schools, Mr. Long. Where would it go to?
Do you mind if I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, make a comment for me.
We've got an actual resolution hitting commission this next meeting that forms the park. And then
Okay.
once that's formed, based on the communication I received from Dr. Langford, that's when they will transfer the funds over. And then they're actually transferring into an existing park that's been ratified by this resolution.
Okay, all right, then I won't do anything.
Isn't this for
I was gonna make a real
information?
smart aleck thing here, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. All right, I was gonna ask for the interest. I mean, I'd like the interest, you know, I was sitting over there, I'd like the interest.
It's a lot
but
of
I-
interest.
I mean, but I'll leave it alone, because I'll leave it, unless somebody else wants to.
Or
All
we
right.
did.
So we will, I guess we can strike this, right? Do we need to do anything with
It's
this?
just information.
Yeah, let's
Money on the
okay.
rear versus-
Item number 4, Mr. Long, I don't know that I'm up to speed on this one as much. The resolution requests unclaimed balance of accounts remitted to the state.
We're required to send the unclaimed balances to the state and follow due diligence. After we do, a year later, you can claim it back to the county and you keep a reasonable amount for what's going to be claimed. We send this resolution every year the way we can request back any unclaimed funds. And we don't know the exact amount this time, that's why it's not.
So,
So
all
we
right,
need the resolution to claim them.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I'll go ahead and make the motion. So motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. So I'd entertain a motion to approve items 5A and B. We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on this one? Do we have dollar amounts on these guys? I know we do in the
Yeah, I
packet.
do. The first one's a 3-year contract for $4,320. The second one is one that just goes across the fiscal year half and half, and it's $27,144.60.
27.
And they're already appropriated, they're just asking for approval because they go across fiscal years.
Okay, got it. All right. So we don't need to waive a second reading on this?
No, there's no
All right.
appropriation request.
Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next one, do we need to do anything with the invoices? I don't think we do, but Mr. Long, please
Yes,
give
we
us.
do, because this one was paid $14,328. We're asking you just to approve it, even though they paid it, because it goes across fiscal years, so $7,000 of that will be expended from the next fiscal.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Both of these.
Yes, it's for both of these, right? I think
Is that a
these.
group and approve?
Well, that was the issue with the first one, the second one's just asking for their approval, because it goes across the years.
Okay, is your motion to group and approve or just one?
All of them, you should group and approve those two.
Okay, A and B. Are you good, is the second good with that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So, the next item is the law director's disability insurance policy. I entertain a motion to discuss.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
So what is this, we read what, Mr. Wine, about $2,800?
Let me tell you the details.
Go
Last
ahead.
year, we had 2,800. They put an additional 3 in to try to obtain the disability insurance. Right now, they're having trouble finding a carrier to carry the disability insurance as written in his contract. And then last year, even though it's providing his contract, he was not providing any disability insurance, which is probably about $5,800 benefit he wasn't paid last year by not having it. And right now, he currently does not have a disability policy, so I think right now, the understanding you'd probably have to amend it to at least 10, and there still may be issues getting the disability. It may, unless Eric's got something different.
Yeah, they've just gone through the roof from last time I ever priced them.
So,
And it just didn't seem fair for me to just make an appropriation for some huge amount for a disability policy when really by being a contract employee, you'd have to pay me anyway.
okay, so just leave it alone?
See, well, the concern is the item on number 6, the way it's written for him. Says he gets it, and then it also says, in the event the employee is disabled from performing his duties under this agreement, the employee agrees to accept the benefits due from the disability policy. So basically, right now, it's saying he's gonna get benefits from a policy that doesn't exist in lieu of the salary.
Mr.
I
Mansfield?
mean, this is a boilerplate template from the previous law director for 2 decades.
I'm finding out it was.
It was not.
Your interim had done most of the paperwork on that.
He changed part of it.
Oh, that was changed between.
I had about 5 minutes.
So what do we want to do with this? What, Mr. Long, so our options are, we bump this up to what, 8,000 and try to find something?
We bump it way up, or remove the provision that he takes the non-existent.
Or if we could tweak it, I don't mind putting it towards like a life insurance policy or something, but I just don't, I mean, I'll take all the money I can get, but it
So,
just doesn't
Mr.
seem
Here's
fair.
here's maybe what I'd like to do. Mr. Long and I'd make this motion to ask Mr. Long and Mr. Sittler to get together and bring a recommendation for what to do here to this body, and we.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so please bring us back a recommendation next time.
I'll make a motion to group and approve D1 and 2.
Second.
Did we
Oh, wait, no, we
do-
gotta do 8, 9, 10, and 8, 9, 10, 11, yes, you're right. You
We're
corrected
on,
me earlier, now.
Number 8.
Now we got you. So, this is for, number 8 is one that I added, it's data backup for the Sheriff's Department. Do we have a dollar amount on that, Mr. Long?
Yes, the first one, which one we want to look at first?
I don't know if it's called Meraki, it's the data backup.
Yeah, I seen the HEM, that's what I call it, the Veeam. Which one did you put first, the Veeam?
Yeah,
It is it looks like $4,587.93.
I move to approve this.
There's some more costs.
I move to approve item number 8, data backup, $4,800.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Second one is,
Clarify, there's 2 pages, the other one's for 17,470. They're not asking for an appropriation, it's just over 2 years, that's what they're asking for.
Oh, okay.
oh, it's not an appropriation, right?
No, it's not appropriation,
just-
it's just lapses
we don't
across
need to-
multiple years.
okay. And the
Both
second-
of these are the same issue, they're not asking for additional money.
We're just extending it.
These
we're
just go
extending the
across
contract.
multiple years, so they need your
Yeah.
approval for the contract.
Same thing for the security, this is 2-factor authentication. What's the dollar amount on that, year over year?
The 2-factor, 10,526.31 for a.
Software and hardware.
Yeah, it's soft.
It goes for 18 months.
Okay, I'd move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 10, this is two EC asks that came in at kind of the last minute here. These were these are multi-year contracts, I believe, correct, Mr. Long?
There's Black Line, and the other one called Andrew Kerr, it's actually for a 24-month contract.
Do we have dollar amounts, the 24-month contract?
Yeah, the 24-month is for Comcast.
Which packet? I'm sorry.
It's this large packet.
Yeah, it's the one with all the emails.
They're asking for 4 things.
Well, no, we only approved 2.
Right.
We only approved 2 to the agenda.
What are we approving of the agenda?
It
The
was
first one is very
I
small.
think I missed it.
Is it the black line?
Yes,
It's
it's
the second one. We approved 1 and 2 on this email,
Yes,
page
correct.
1.
Well, the first one is for,
I'll go with it.
it's this Black Line, it's software, it's for 1 year, it's $1,860, but it splits across 2 fiscal years, so it's things you're approving. It's gonna be, half of it's gonna be expensive next year.
I'm gonna need to look at this.
And then item 2
It's,
is,
Mr. Long, can you direct what page we're on this?
and that's the thing, we just got this together.
Where the hell are we?
It's getting late. It's,
If you go back on page 5, is the first one, looks like this at the end of it. And this is the ones we got this just recently, we didn't have time to do things.
This page is not open.
And this is the first one is for Black Line for $1,860, and they're just asking for approval to pay it because it's gonna go across 2 fiscal years.
And
go ahead,
what is this for?
It says it's to secure threats, it looks like fire protection.
It's security, is it security software?
What is this supposed to be going on? Security software for what?
See what the email says.
I haven't had a chance to read it, but it's got.
We just got it. I can look at the black line.
I don't see no.
And if I can.
Go ahead,
speak,
Ms. Boyd.
I have looked at their transactions through prior years, and Blackline is a vendor that, it's not a new vendor for the election commission. I'm not sure what they usually pay, but I know it's not a new vendor. They use a lot of data services. Blackline is one of 5 or 6 different data services.
The only reason this comes up, if you have a service that goes across 2 fiscal years, we expense the portions of the service in fiscal years that are benefited. So like this 1,080 goes across 2 fiscal years, so half of it's gonna be in next fiscal year, it's gonna be future appropriation. That's why we're asking you to approve it.
So is this a renewal of a contract?
It's a,
I think so.
it's a contract we've used, it's not a renewal, but it's a new contract for someone we have used before.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What have they been doing up
So
to
what
this point?
they do is, it's
5?
cybersecurity. I don't know what exactly you're getting out of $1,000, but
So this is cybersecurity tool, but we don't know what it's for. Cybersecurity for what, like election machines?
well, we don't.
Is this
It doesn't say
moving
that.
security over there that they don't have?
It's
So where's, what you got? Hold on, Bobby. I can't keep up.
so it's not. I think it is for IT, like cyber. It's probably. I think it's support. Is what it looks like. We don't have it here.
This is just a general line.
Please confirm that it's for new service, it's a new service.
Oh, a new server?
It says right here.
You know, God forbid you should
For a new device and a 1-year service, for the new location. the rules, it's already explained. So this is for the new location.
They're putting a server in?
Well, this software says the estimate number 690 is about
$1,800.
It's for a new device and 1-year service for the new location. Renewal at 355 Belvedere Drive has already been completed. So it's a new service.
Is there? We are at a motion to discuss right now, I think, or do we have a motion to approve? No, I've forgotten. I'm gonna go ahead and. I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
think
ahead.
we did anything.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve this.
It says this is new for 1019 Union School Road location, so we can run the 2024 elections.
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve this. Is there a second? No. Well, we need to have
discussion
some.
on
Well, go ahead.
it. I mean, we're on the motion to discuss.
I don't know that we
I
had.
don't know.
We didn't have any.
I'll make a motion to discuss
All
if
right,
we
second.
haven't done that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, go ahead.
So how many IT services do they have?
4 or 5. Several.
So this is a request for a location at Union, you said, elementary?
Well, no, what it says on.
This is a
This
TRC.
page right here says, this is an all-new for the 1019 Union School Road location so that we can run the 2024 elections. Isn't that where the
TRC building is there, yeah.
What I was thinking.
But the elections
So
are
that's
already
for
being
them to
run.
run the elections over there, so this is.
So are they running illegal, like unsecure elections because elections are already taking place within,
They bought new machines this year, so this would be.
like,
part of it.
in, assisted living facilities, they're doing elections right now, so they unsecured?
That would be a question for Ms. Ashley.
I would, so here's what I'd like to do. I would like to entertain, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this contingent on Miss Ashley, answering questions about what this service is, to the full commission.
I mean, I'll second that.
All right, motion and second.
So so elections are already happening. And this is software post-elections already happening, asking for security for the elections that are already happening. I just want to clarify the narrative here.
We don't have her here, so that's
It
why.
says
I
it's
made
for
that
new
motion.
device.
Ms.
I
Boyd?
know, but elections are already happening.
No, I know. Ms. Boyd?
I figured out my own answer, thank you,
Okay.
sorry.
Any other discussion on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, we have one no. Motion carries.
Blackline or Comcast?
This is for Blackline. Now we're going to Comcast. Can you give us the amount for the Comcast? This is a 24 month?
Yes, the Comcast one is for 24 months.
How much is it for 24 months?
165, it says 165 data, MOB, SED.
How much, what's the funding? How much?
She's already got the funding, she just needs approval. 'cause
I would like to
it's
make a
money.
motion to approve this for 12 months.
Second.
I don't know if Comcast will agree, that's kind of their issue.
They won't agree with it? All right.
That's why we're asking that versus asking.
All right, then I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we already have that
Nope.
service here in this building?
Yes, but this
Do
would
we need to have a motion for a second for discussion?
So we'll
Motion,
duplicate it here.
motion to discuss?
Second.
Motion to second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, go ahead, Ms.
I'd like to hear
Boyd.
Commissioner Boyd. what she
Yeah,
has
go
to say.
ahead.
I was just asking Mr. Long, we already have those services in this building, so we're just buying duplicate services. And he says he believes so.
Well, the only reason I can say it's Union is it says 1019 Union School Road, that's what I can tell you, it says 24 months, 165. They do have data here at this building, so.
I can't hear you, Dave.
I can't speak for the necessity, but I can say they've got that at this building, and this is 1019. This is
How
what
much
I
is
have
this cost?
made.
Tell me where this
Yeah,
is in this package.
what's the cost on it?
It is about, it's 10 pages from the front. It'll say Comcast Business, and it looks like.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, here's the answer to my question. We're gonna pay $650 to move existing service on this page
At some point.
at some point.
I can't say what
This is
they.
$165 a month that they're asking
That's what it looks like.
They're not asking for additional appropriation, they're just asking to approve a multi-year contract. And because it's multi-year, that means it's a future appropriation in future years,
Yeah,
so
go
you
ahead.
guys have to approve it.
Yes, this is an appropriation issue, it's not a money issue.
Just,
It's a, yeah. it's
I know you want to.
Legal issue for future appropriations.
I know. All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Number 11 is to stand up budget workshops in March. These are informational workshops where no deliberation will happen, and any commissioner can attend. Is that what this for?
And ask question, any commissioner.
Informational questions. All right, you know what? I like that. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second.
for. So, please explain this to me, because we have budget hearings. We do that 2 days we take off, vacation days. I have 2 days to do exactly what you're asking, so I don't understand the purpose
I'll
of
get
this.
in queue on it. I mean, because I'll get in queue on this one because last year I felt like I came into the budget with a lot more information than the people who were
You
sitting
did.
here did, because I sat down day after day after day after day with various department heads. And I'm not expecting everybody to do that, but like having an opportunity to come in and get some questions answered, I think would be, I'm sure would be beneficial, like, and it may actually, you don't have to, but I think it would be helpful. That's why I'm for it. Go ahead.
How is that different than the budget process? I mean, how is that different? They come in and we ask them questions. I don't understand. Are you sure you're gonna have them do it twice? Is that what you're saying?
No. What we do is we would learn in these trainings, for instance, one of the trainings would be, how do we get to the value of a penny in taxes? And you know, how, you know, like it's been, what has it been, 600 and...
It's like 710 probably now.
Yeah, no,
it's gonna go.
it's gonna be like $1 million.
It's gonna be a lot more than that. It's gonna be probably 1.2.
Yeah, and just for me, I will do this because I feel like I've got one leg not working when we get into the budget discussions.
So who's putting this on and what, I mean, because like you're talking about going through our budget process when some of us might not be able to be here or kept up. It's like when we dedicate time to do it, so it's like you're doing it twice. That's, I still can't get past that. So you're not explaining that well enough to me.
Okay, you're not doing the budget twice. You're learning things about how to create the budget. Like I say, you know, when we were talking about a penny's worth $680,000 or whatever, I don't know where that came from, but I just kind of went with the flow. David would explain that to us. Maybe you don't need to have that explained to you. You don't need to come to the workshop. I do need it explained to me.
Because it's open to the public.
We would notice it. We could go.
We could notice it to the public.
Notice it.
I mean, I just, if you don't have to come, it's not gonna change.
It's not
And there
compulsory
would be,
for you.
yeah.
I understand, but you're talking about, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna vote no until I can get more information on this, so because I don't want you guys to go through a process where then you skip out on actually doing stuff in the budget process, that we're supposed to be doing this, not an extraneous activity. That's what I'm concerned about.
Okay, what it started out as was a Zoom call that Terry was on, and she asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I did. And it was with CTAS.
CTAS. Everybody got an email.
Yeah.
And
CTAS gonna be doing this for us, coming here and doing it?
No, this would
no,
not.
this is the second one is the day after tomorrow.
And I'll step in. If we would like them to, they have offered to come. I've spoken to Mr. Long. He says he could cover any of our questions we want. It would cover things like the ratio and how property assessment and the ratio is going to come into play. We also need to understand, it's a big question with the tax freeze and the, what's the other piece of the tax called? I can't get that, where we pay part of it.
The assessment?
No.
No, it's where we match.
We match the state.
We match the
And
state
we
for,
need to understand that better, because I don't know that I understood it, maybe some of you do, that we match the state's part of the property tax we pay.
Yeah.
But Hendersonville is looking at raising their limits.
Actually,
And you need to understand that we pay right now, these people that apply for this, we have about 2,000 in each of these categories. They come in and they manually tell us their information.
tax relief.
We have 3-4 clerks that are working on this. When Hendersonville raises their limit, we're gonna have to put a couple more clerks down there potentially. There's issues that are coming up that we don't anticipate, that we should at least discuss the process.
You have tax freeze and tax relief. You got two different.
And-
Like another one that I think would be useful to discuss, because it was just me and Mr. Long.
Yeah.
It was all the benchmarking and how far back we went, and then like doing the estimations that we made. There was a lot of, like how you make the estimations on what we're gonna see moving forward. Are you gonna use a rolling average? It's all that type of stuff that like I realized that I rolled into, and not everybody had that with Mr. Mansfield.
I'm just making sure you're not rolling in department heads in here, that they're going to be talking about stuff that's not going to be talked about in the
No, it's not about, this wouldn't be about deliberating for particular budgets. That's for the actual budget. This is more
This is like a
how
CTAS PowerPoint 101.
But a little bit more detail than that. It's specific, it would be specific to us. It was basically the crash course that Mr. Long gave to me, last year. Like how you form opinion, how we make estimates, if you remember, which was one of those tabs that you had on like when we were making this, there are a lot of assumptions that we make. There are a lot of assumptions that we make about how much revenue that we're gonna have.
Your long-term planning, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, your long-term planning, the assumptions you're gonna have on revenue, and how you make those assumptions. Like, if we wanted to, we could do like what the state did, right? The state went way over on their assumptions. They're like, oh, we're gonna keep making so much money, and then it didn't happen. We were extremely conservative, and so and they're under budget this year, or they're over budget this year because of it.
Way bigger.
So like, but we didn't do that, right? Because Mr. Long, we sat down and when we came here, we had a lot of we said we were probably gonna be borderline on a recession, and so we were extremely conservative in our estimates for revenue. We were extremely conservative in estimates for what we were gonna be across all revenue streams. And so all of that, like understanding what those assumptions are, changes a lot, because what could have happened if we would have been like, oh yeah, it's going to be great. Well, we would have potentially budgeted a lot more and then be coming up short right now, and this would be a lot bigger. So understanding those assumptions and how that gets built, I think would be, I mean, I would encourage anybody in the public to come if they really are interested in this and also have, a lot of time on their hands.
And speaking of the public, it's another element of transparency as we get the budget out, and we're talking about like what is the prior year and what happened in these areas.
I just feel personally, selfishly, I feel like I will be at a much better state when we do our budget meetings.
But you understand, I'm making sure we're not shortchanting the actual process. I don't want anything to like, oh, we've already talked about that in this budget thing that people couldn't come to.
It's supplementary.
Yeah, it's training for that process.
As long as it's not redundant.
And just one.
And then I'll get you, Mr. Mayor.
CTAS was recommending not just like one meeting, but numerous ones, like one on revenue, one on how to do the penny, one on maybe ratios or looking at the property freeze. There was a lot of things to be discussed. So I just want to make sure it's not just, they were just saying the more.
I'm going to go ahead, Mr. Mayor, and then I'm going to amend my motion just to be more specific.
Well, my concern is who's teaching this, because after March 1 up until the budget hearings, that finance office is pretty busy. And to pull David off of that to teach classes to 1, 2, 3 people, whoever shows up, I think that might be burdensome. And I don't want to sit here and defend Dr. Long, but I think it's going to be a burden.
Now. Call him Dr. Long.
And CTAS did offer, and Mr. Long said he would rather provide the support, but they can always step in.
We'll provide you the data and some of the, we do need to keep it because we are pretty busy at that time.
Mr. Long, would you, this is what I was going to do. I was going to amend a motion to just have a single 4-hour session that you would construct that would not be overly burdensome for you.
What I'll do is we have revenue sheets, we do project your budgets. We'll pretty those up to the point where you can ask very specific questions that are rather detailed, and then probably kind of focus on those and focus over on your long-term planning, because the department heads will be in here to defend their expenditures.
I think we may, well, if you can, I think it would be useful to do the benchmarking.
Because that's even the long-term planning one.
Yeah,
that's the one that has all the
those are the 3 big ones.
We can go through those. The rest of them, you're going to really have your department heads in here.
We don't.
They can answer a lot more questions than I can. I see their information, but they know what they're doing.
But that's during the actual budget. Right. That's Mr. Mansfield. That's a separate thing.
Yeah. I can tell you what they buy, but I can't always tell you why, and they can tell you why.
So I've amended my motion to give you that specific direction, and then we'll set up a time for it. Go ahead. Are you good with that as the second?
If I could amend, could we roll into it and set up one 4-hour session, and if we need more,
I don't want to
we'll
overburden these guys. I want to keep it at the 4. And if we can do more, then we can. And we can add. So you're good with it still?
Yeah.
I trust him to know what he's got time for.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously.
I move the group and approve D1-2.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
One left.
Move adjourned.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Go get that snow shovel out and get ready.
2 hours. That's not that bad.